it to go live like that, but that's okay. I will go with it. I changed the title of this live and then I was like, okay, and it said going live. So anyway, I'm Stephanie. I've been running around trying to get ready for this, a little bit hectic, but it's okay. It kind of leads into my topic today, and that is talking about just life cycles of goals, kind of goals in general. I have my whiteboard board. I need to get an easel because every time I want to use my whiteboard, I'm like, oh, well, I don't have an easel and that's okay. I was kind of running around because my daughter is going to a friend's house right now and my husband's taking her, which is really nice. But I needed to make sure she was ready and had breakfast and everything. And that's kind of how it goes, right? Like I'm a busy mom, busy working mom, and that's kind of the angle that I go out here in YouTube. And that's something that I'm going to talk about a little bit more because I feel like I have the balance down, if there is such a thing. Sometimes we're just trying to go day by day to see how things are going in that moment and in that day, and we can adjust. We can make changes to our schedules, and we can say, okay, I was planning on taking my daughter today to her friend's house, and my husband offered to take her. We're off today. And I said, yeah, that would give me time to do my live instead of just trying to squeeze it in when everybody's home and then me worrying about them coming in here because that's a little embarrassing for me. So yeah, this worked out really well. And I want to talk about kind of the life cycle of our goals today. And I did a video last week about this, and it was a little bit short of a video because I didn't want to make it too long and complicated, but I want to talk. My hair looks wet still. I went and swam this morning, so my hair might be a little bit damp, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about it because after I hit publish on that video, I thought there's a lot more to this with the life cycle of a goal. And I drew here, let me draw it. Let me see if I can make this work for you guys. Okay, let's move over here and we'll move this here. And I will try my best, okay? It's not gonna be perfect. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just draw it up here. Can you see it if I draw it here? I think you can. Yay, okay. So a little bit like that. So hi mom, yes, I know a lot of people say that. That's fine. Because I am a mom and I can give advice and that's fine. So thanks for being here. This is a little bit of how I see our life cycle of the goal. Okay, it's a bell curve. It's something you've probably seen before, but we have a beginning, a middle, and an end to it. And that's basically what we're talking about today, and how wherever you are with your journey, it's normal and it's okay. If you're over here at the beginning and you can't see where I'm pointing, I'm sorry. I will get an easel or stand up or something where I do have a whiteboard in my exercise room, but I don't want to go down there. The lighting's terrible. So anyway, if you're embarking on something new, what I'm trying to tell you, I know I'm kind of like stumbling because I had to run around to get this live started, but I'm talking about going for something that you want to go for. And here's January. A lot of people start in January, and a lot of people throughout my life tell me, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could write a book, or I wish I could run a marathon, or I wish I could just start with my painting again. And I like to come out here and say, you can do that at any time. It doesn't have to be January. It doesn't have to be in a certain decade of your life. I'm in my, getting to be late 40s, and I'm kind of just starting to go for my dreams and my goals after, getting my kids through their younger years. And that was really tough, but I did still kind of do some of my goals back then. I wrote some of my books, And I like to come out here and I want to tell you that whatever stage you're in getting whatever you want to started in your life, it's okay. It's normal. There's ups and downs. There's, oh, it's going to take me forever to get started. There's challenges. There's, I want to give up. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about today. And I think, to get started, of course, we're at the beginning. We're in that beginning stage. Sometimes, it's this long. Sometimes it's this long. Hello, thanks for joining us. But that beginning stage is really important. So I drew our little bell curve here, and our beginning stage can be something like, let's see if I can do this. Maybe it needs to be way out here, and you're using all of this as a prep stage, okay? Yeah, you do. You like to play video games, and you know what? I think that's really cool because you know what you like doing. It doesn't really matter what your goals are as long as you're enjoying doing it. And if it's crocheting, if it's reading, if it's playing games, carving out the time to do that thing that brings you happiness is what we need to do. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna run for city council, or I'm gonna, run the 26 miles or whatever. Those things are great too, but whatever it is that brings you joy. Maybe you want to try new recipes or something, but and it sounds like with you, with your video games, you do that and you make time for yourself. And probably at the end of the day, you're like, that was fun. I really like that. You're from Bangladesh. Thank you for being here. That's really cool. Yeah, you have no responsibilities. Okay. Yep. Manifest that, go for it, and keep that in your life. And you talk about manifesting. I don't talk about manifesting too much on my channel, but I definitely am actively a manifester. I think it's really fun. I think that's why I do it. It gives me hope. And anyway, try and get back to the topic. But so I think that a lot of times, like right now in January, a lot of people are in this beginning stage and they think, oh, it's January 20th. Isn't it the 20th today? Let's see, is it the 20th or is it the 19th? It's the 19th. But even people at work have said this week, oh, it's the 15th or it's the 17th. I'm already too late. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You are not, thank you, 19th. You're not too late getting started, because sometimes this part right here is just the idea of going for something. It's just thinking about it. I thought about writing my books forever. And what I did was I used to tell myself my stories before going to sleep. And I would change the story of the girl walking down the road and she's, battered and all that stuff. But I didn't end up writing that book. But I used to play it in my head for years before I actually wrote it into a book. And looking back at my life cycle of that goal of being an author, that was my beginning stage. That was my idea stage. And it had to ruminate for a long time before I actually made that decision of, I'm going to get this started. And I feel like that is the difference between staying here and actually like starting on this path, is telling yourself, okay, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And it can switch something in your brain at that point, and you start taking the first steps. So I just did a short this morning. I did it in my car after I swam. So I think my eyes were still puffy from my goggles, but I like to do that because the lighting's good and the sound kind of sounds okay and I'm by myself. But I said, the one thing that you need to get started on your goal after thinking about it for all this time is that statement. I want to do this. I want to get started. And then I feel like the rest of it just falls in line a little bit to get you started. You start thinking about, okay, how am I going to get started? When am I going to get started? Do I need to do a little bit of research? With my books, I had no idea how to do it. I had no idea how to even write a story. So I started watching YouTube channels and videos, and it was free, and that was fine. And then it kind of led me to some people who were offering courses, and I took Publish and Thrive, which is open right now, by the way. Um, I'll put a link after this. Sorry, I was like, yeah, there's links in my other videos with that. But it's a great course. So if your authors also, that one's really cool. She only opens it twice a year. So and it's Sarah Cannon. Sorry, you can go check it out. But anyway, we get started on this path, right? And then it kind of I have the bell curve as going up. And yes, because usually when we get started with something, we don't know that much about it. And it is kind of a hill from there. We have to go on this journey. We have to get our hiking shoes on and prepare to go up. I call this stage right here, while it could be totally fun and discovering and a great part of this journey, I call this the challenge zone going up. I hope I'm not backwards, you guys. I hope I'm not like going up the other side of the hill on the bell curve. But I call that the challenge zone. And I want to say almost all of our goals are going to have a little bit of that challenge time. And I want to point it out because it's not something to be feared. It's something that we can kind of embrace, that we can tell ourselves it's okay. It's all right to challenge ourselves. This is when we grow and when we learn. And when we can tell ourselves that I'm doing it, I'm doing the thing that I set out to do. And when I wrote my books, let me see, this is my latest one. I think actually this is a good Valentine's one if you guys are looking for a Valentine's read. It's called From A to Z. And it is on there on Amazon, but I had no idea how to write a book or how to self-publish it. It was a huge, steep challenge zone. I don't know how many times I wanted to give up. And that's kind of what I wanted to say and come out here because yes, we're drawing like a nice little bell curve, but sometimes we're like, oh, we're going up here. Nope, I'm going to quit. Oh, I'm going up here now. I have time. Nope, this is getting too hard. This is kind of more of how at least my journey has gone and how and why I want to come out and say this is completely normal. So if you're in this area and you're saying, well, I started something, I started an exercise program or a diet and it got really hard and I wanted to give up where I did give up. And what I have to say to that is there's another day. You're going to wake up tomorrow, God willing, and you'll have another chance. And that's okay to take a break. They talk about diet breaks. They talk about rest days when you're exercising. I don't know what rest days are. I exercise every single day. I'm an exerciser though. I like to do my stuff. Even on my rest days, I will just go for a walk. So, I don't want to be triggering or anything out there for people who find that triggering. But I want to say that even if it does get challenging, you can have another chance to hop back on and to keep going and keep trying. And even if you give up and maybe you lose some steam and maybe you come back a week later, a month later, a year later, you're still going to have that knowledge of what you had done and accomplished before. It's not going to go away. You might not remember everything about your goal. You might not remember everything about book publishing because I don't. I'm kind of ready to get back into my writing and I might actually take Publish and Thrive again just so I can refresh some of the things that, self-publishing, there's literally like 1,000 things to do, but I might pick that back up. But it doesn't mean that I've lost that knowledge that I learned or that you learned in whatever part of the journey that you did before you kind of not gave up. I'm not saying that, but before you gave it a pause, like it got a little bit challenging, life got busy, you put your goal or your dream on the side a little bit, but hopefully you can come back and you can pick it back up and you can say, okay, I know that there's going to be hard times And I'm out here to tell you that that's okay and that's normal, and hopefully encourage you and kind of inspire you to keep going. Because what I don't want to happen for you, and we'll get back to the life cycle, I don't want it to be like you're getting to, you're getting on in your years, however you want to say that. Okay. I'm 46. So here we are, I'm going to be 47 in 6 months. I don't want to one day say, I wish I would have. I wish I would have done that. I wish I had tried that thing. I wish I wouldn't have given up. I wish I would have picked my writing back up because I have 8 stories out there that I want to publish. And I don't want that for any of us to sit there and say, I had time because I scrolled on Instagram at night, or I watched, 20 movies a week, or I watched that whole series in a weekend, but I didn't have time for myself. So that's why we're talking about this. And I'm telling you about the normalcies of this whole journey of going through your goal. So anyway, you might have this long lead time of getting started. You might have, this steep hill going up, and it kind of might be jagged when you're going through your challenges of learning and growing, and that's fine. And then eventually you'll hopefully get to the top of your mountain, whatever that is, whatever goal you're going for. You're probably going to get to a time where it evens out a little bit. You might still have challenges. You might still have those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm writing this book and it's just kind of taking over me and I don't know where to go from here. That's all okay. I keep saying it's all normal, but you might have that time where you get to kind of ease into it a little bit more and say, okay, I'm getting used to this. I'm getting into my goal. I'm getting into the rhythm of it. And I've set aside this time every day. Maybe you're a busy working parent like me and you're like, I don't know when I'm going to do this. Or you're starting to look at your schedule and saying, I can work on my book or whatever my goal is on my lunch. And it's actually relaxing and enjoyable. Or I can work on it at night when the kids are doing homework, or maybe, taking showers is a golden moment for me to, that sounded really bad. I'm sorry. Is a good time for me to work on my goals. But maybe you're getting into the rhythm of it. And especially this time of year, if you've stuck with your plan for the year, resolution, whatever it is. But then you get to be in this kind of, I picture like a little stick figure here, kind of sliding down here, celebrating a little bit. And you get to be in the fun zone and kind of get some of those rewards that you have coming to you because you've put in this work. And hopefully you get to that finish line. And my throat is so dry. Hold on. Hopefully you'll get to the finish line of your goal and you'll be able to look back at the work that you've done here and say, oh my gosh, I did it. I thought about it forever, right? You thought about doing those goals, that thing that you want to do for years, maybe even. And because I did that too. My kids were really young and I truly didn't have the time because I was my husband worked at night and that was really hard. But you get to the end, you have your finished product. I have my book here, or I have my planner. Let me see, this is kind of what I'm doing right now. I have my planner that I created. I'm using it this year. It's not for sale yet. I'm hoping to get it for sale probably next year. But you get to that point and you're like, I did it. Hopefully you can get to this end part of your goal and reflect on what you've done. And on the work that you've done, and you can say, I did something hard. I, number one, set out to do something for myself, because this whole thing, you guys, in my opinion, is the greatest self-care that we can give ourselves. It's setting yourself up for something that you've wanted to do. and going for it. You're actually going for it and you're making that decision and you're doing the hard things. Like in our bell curve, we're going up, we're doing the hard things, but then it becomes part of our lives and we see some of that progress. And sometimes that keeps us going and we think, well, I've already done this work, so I'm not going to give up. And that keeps you going as well. And you watch one of my videos and you're like, well, Stephanie says that I can get through this challenging time, and you can. Maybe it's you getting into something, whatever your project is, and you're like, this isn't exactly what I wanted. Maybe you start writing romance and it actually turns into a mystery or a short story, or you get on Substack and you really like that and it shifts a little bit, and that's good. That's great. You can be flexible with your goals too, to your liking. Um, and then you get down to the end and you think, okay, I did that. What else can I do? What's the next thing that I want to do? And it fuels you on for a few reasons, because it's rewarding to get done with our goals, to go for something that we want to. And then it's that accomplishing feeling when you get to the end and you're like, oh my gosh, I did it. I can do it. You prove to yourself that you can. So that's kind of the life cycle of this goal. I have a lot of goals that I'm working on right now, and I'm going to have a little bit of a shift to my channel, or at least I'm going to try to. I've been wanting to do this shift and I haven't yet. And it's about more like talking about going for our goals when we're busy, because I'm, busy working mom angle, to trying to like find these little pockets of time that I can work on these things for myself. And now that my kids are a little bit older, they're 14 and 11, they're not like on their own at all. Still need me very much. I'm still very much here for them, but I can do these things for myself a little bit. But I also have a ton of tips for my audience out there in still going and still saying that you don't say, oh, I have kids, so I can't do anything for myself. Now, if they're newborns and toddlers, it's definitely a different stage than if your kids are like preteens or teens like mine. But even when my daughter was, I think I started writing my books when she was 6 or so, because they played together and they made messes all over the house together. No, they did. They were very much into their Barbies and everything. And that gave me little moments that I could work on my novels. And not that I needed more joy in my life, because being a mom has been the greatest joy that I have, but I feel like doing these things for ourselves, whatever that is that you want to do, it is so fulfilling to be at the end of the day and say, you know what? Somebody's here from Brazil. That's so cool. Thank you for being here. I feel like at the end of the day, when you have this long list of things that you want to do and that you've chipped away at it, like I have my list that I made today, and I know I'm not going to get all of this done today, but if I get 3 things done, isn't that better? Isn't that a better feeling than getting 0 because you didn't try, or because you didn't prioritize yourself? Maybe things get in the way, and I get that. I totally get that. You should see my kitchen right now. It's a disaster. So yeah, I need to work on my kitchen a little bit, and I need to work on homework with my kids and do some laundry with them and everything, and play a game maybe, and that's all great. But getting some of my list done, or even if it's one thing, even if it's a half of one of these, is something that it's a gift that we can give ourselves, because we're doing that for us. We don't need to ask permission. We don't need somebody to, sit us down and do it. We can do it. And I feel like now, I have my 3 books out there, and I'm going to start selling my planners, and I have YouTube out there. It is showing me that, number one, we can do it, I can do it. And number two, like it's so satisfying to not only like cross those things off of the list. Who else loves to make a list just to cross off the items? And you make a box and you check it and you're like, that's not good enough. I'm gonna get a colored pencil and put a line through it too. All of that. It's making us show ourselves and be accountable to ourselves, but then show us that we can do it. And that keeps us going forward. So I thank you for being here. I'm going to end the live now, but hopefully if you're new, you'll subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1100 this week, but this is my goal, is to come out here and hopefully give you some encouragement to go for your goals and dreams, even if it's not spending all your time doing it, because none of us have time, 16 hours a day to work on our things. I think we would get burnt out in 2 days. So, but to try and kind of get your goal and chip away at it a little bit at a time, because you're worth it, and your goals are, and your dreams, how you want things to be in your life, that feeling of accomplishment is worth it. And yeah, so I hope to see you next time. I'll definitely be out here, and I hope you will be too.